Hey everyone, I am joined by Roman, aka Der8auer on YouTube, and we're here to talk about honest opinions about some stuff at CES. Before that, this video is brought to you by the Drop and Hi-Fi Man HE4XX planar magnetic headphones. The HE4XX headphones focus on high-quality audio listening experiences with comfortable foam cushions for the ear cups. Comfort is also ensured with a leather-covered spring steel headband, allowing flexibility and durability against bends. These headphones are capable of delivering big sound for audiophiles while being positioned competitively in price. Learn more at the link in the description below. So we've both seen a lot of products for the show, and the problem you always run into with CES is there's kind of peak seasons, right? And you said this is the most disappointing you've been to in 5 years?
That's correct. Yeah.
So what in particular makes it so sad?
It's not only the fact that there is no major hardware launch, like no chipset or CPU launch, but it's also that even neglecting that, the new products are not really new products. Everything is like no hate on Corsair, but having an air cooler is not an invention. Yeah, they're all still playing the RGB game and everything. I mean, especially for MSI, for example, they had a bunch of new laptops, which was the exact same hardware spec as the previous one. The only thing they added was like an RGB strip on the bottom.
Yeah.
And like, I just from a like personal point of view, also running companies, imagine how much time and money you spend being here, bringing your product to an exhibition, and then the only thing you show is like you added light to a product. It's like, yeah, it's a little bit disappointing.
The biggest problem I've had with CES, in particular this year, is that it seems like the companies, some of them barely know the products that they have. Like the MSI liquid cooler, the team at MSI was both unexcited about the product and also uninformed on the product. And then the laptop, there's the Alpha 15 laptop is Ryzen 4000, but it's actually got a last gen chip in it.
That's that is really wrong.
Yeah, so it's like we want to bring this new Ryzen 4000 laptop, but we don't have it ready. So let's just lie. Let's just say this old one is Ryzen 4000.
Yeah, fake it till you make it.
That's right.
For MSI, I really have to give credits to my German contact, because he was really well informed about all the products.
That's good.
I just had very specific questions as usual. Then he was trying to find people that have been working with the products, and they basically had no people there. Like, for example,
At MSI?
Yeah.
MSI has like, I feel like every time we go to MSI, there's like 100 people at the booth.
Exactly. But
But no,
nobody knew about the
product,
mainboard. I was asking what kind of VRMs are on there. They didn't know. Like, nobody from the mainboard department was there.
But you can take the heatsink off, right?
Yeah, we did.
But they didn't want you to.
They said they don't recommend it, and I said it's fine if you don't recommend it.
Because I'm still going to do it.
Yeah, that's not what I said, but we did.
Yeah.
But that is kind of frustrating, because you go there and you kind of expect to get a nice run through the products and then show the excitement to your viewers. But then if you don't get anything, like, what are you going to present? And then it's going to make your own video boring, and you're not even responsible for it.
You come at it from a more negative angle, which just feels kind of bad. Like, not really the video I want to make. But the same example, though, talking about companies bringing products that they don't even want to show, that's the weirdest to me, because again, one of those laptops, we flipped it over and filmed the bottom side, and they asked us not to show the bottom side in the video.
Just the bottom or the internals?
Not even the internals, just the plastic, because it's not final, I guess. But this is a product you can physically pick up and flip over. It's not like it's hidden behind glass, right? So there's going to be other videos out there showing it anyway, and I don't understand why. I guess I do understand why, but the desire to show off products that are not only not ready, but also not even something they want us to film is insane to me. So that's the whole point of a show.
Yeah, I don't get it, because to me, any kind of PR is still PR. It really is like that. And if you tell people that the product you're going to show, or you're just showing at this exhibition, is not final, it's totally fine.
That's fine.
Just tell people, this is like something we're currently working on. It's not final. It will change over the next 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, so two companies do that really well. Silverstone does a good job of that. They bring a lot of prototypes, and I like it because they're like, look, this is a prototype, and by the way, would you ask your viewers which of these two they prefer, so we can get an idea, and that's cool. That's a perfect use of a trade show. The other one's Lian Li, which you work with.
Yeah, that's true.
Because James, the CEO, Jameson, he'll bring in all these, everything's incomplete.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's
That's
super
true.
cool though.
Yeah.
Like the Unifan.
Personally, I would really love if all the vendors would just bring incomplete products. It's so much more interesting because you then can also see, for example, let's say you look at the mainboard and then it's coming out 3 months later and a lot of things change, maybe heatsink or whatever, because you can still give them
Feedback.
feedback and input. Yeah. But that's not the case.
Well, the problem here is I give a lot of feedback on the cases, like on cooling and stuff. I'm sure you give feedback on stuff, but you kind of do it knowing that it's not going to go anywhere because it's normally too late, and the product's already, like, tooling's done. They're not going to change anything. I
usually stopped giving feedback at this point. I mean, for cases it's a little bit different because it's easier for them to change stuff. Yeah. But especially for mainboards, GPUs and stuff, usually at the point where you receive the product, it's so far ahead in development that they cannot even change stuff anymore because it would cost them so much money to go just completely back to, like, I don't know, PCB development or whatever. It's simply not possible to, at this stage, to do adjustments, which I kind of understand because in this industry everything is so short-lived that,
There's a lot of refreshes too, where, like you're saying, you put an LED strip in it. So you fly out, you spend, in some cases, some of the companies on the floor here, you spend like $1 million on your booth, plus the space and the staff, and then you show off like a slightly larger monitor than last year, or something with an LED strip in it where it didn't have it last year.
Yes. And from a company point of view, I would, if it was me, like if I was running one of those companies, I would just say, okay, we're not attending CES this year. But then the companies are afraid because they all have this mentality, but Asus is there, so we have to be there.
Yeah.
Like speaking as Gigabyte or whatever.
Right.
They always think the competition is there, so we also have to go there, which really does not make sense.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything to show, you just don't show up.
Well, you know the best way to get one of the motherboard or video card vendors to show you a product that they're not allowed to show you? So if you're pretty sure someone has B550 or X470 or 3080 Ti, whatever, if you're pretty sure someone has it, all you have to do is be like, if you're at, I don't know, MSI, all you have to do is say, ASRock had one and they showed me.
Yeah, that's correct. You can always play the vendor card. But it works for everything. It's also for projects. It's like, oh yeah, Asus wants to support it. Oh yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. Can we also join?
Yeah, it's really competitive, which is great, but that's also why it's so weird to see like the just sort of incomplete products that aren't in a state like Lian Li or Silverstone, where you can show it. It's just incomplete, where they not only don't know what it is, they like lie about the components, stuff like that.
So what's your impression? I mean, considering how CES is going this year, will you come back next year? Or you will always come back?
Yeah, because there's still enough good stuff. Like this year, I would say overall, although there were some really bad cases, I would say maybe 3 or 4 case manufacturers kind of carried the show, where they had really good stuff. It was worth going to see AMD as well, because everything they announced was in a press conference. They don't give a whole lot more detail than that, even in a private meeting. But we can shift the topic to something else. Like when I was talking with AMD, the question was, how are you going to fix your drivers for GPUs? And I got a proper, honest answer. But if I email them or call, it'll get filtered through PR and I'll never hear the answer. So I'd say it's worth for that reason.
That's true.
The problem is you have to create a reason for it to be worth it.
That's correct. I heard something which I found interesting, and I also give you credit for that, is I was at the Corsair dinner, and there was
I skip every year.
Yeah, a whole bunch of other YouTubers and stuff. And then I asked if you were also attending, and the answer was that you're not attending because you want to stay independent or not be affiliated. So you don't do company dinners in general, right?
Never, yeah. We'll meet with individuals on occasion. So for example, if there's an engineer or a PM or someone like that in this area or in Taiwan for Computex or whatever, we'll meet with them to kind of get ahead of the meeting. So like, just getting 30-minute fast food lunch with someone is kind of what I'll do, because then we can get just some pre-briefing on what's going to go on. But I don't do any of the big elaborate stuff. I mean, when we went to visit factories with Cooler Master in China, they want to do all these 3-hour dinners to treat the guests well, but I view that as kind of like it's a bit of an ethical conflict. I also don't like the food most of the time, and also I want to be working in the room on the content. It's like the whole point of traveling is to work on the content. So yeah, I don't normally do those.
So that's very interesting, because I think you're the only YouTuber in this tech industry who is that strict, which really, I give you a lot of credit for that, because it really, gives you the view, or it gives me the impression that you're very independent. Because for example, for us, or from my perspective, it's not really possible to do that. I typically book like videos in advance. So the way it works for me is that I ask vendors like, hey, are you going to show interesting products? Do you want me to come and cover your booth?
Right.
So they don't tell me what to do, like they don't tell me what to film, or they don't tell me what to say. That's not how it works. I would never do that. But of course, it's still kind of a conflict if you try to like bash the products or something and
it's difficult.
Get paid for it. That's what I told you about the MSI situation. Yeah. It's like I'm trying to deliver very interesting and independent content to the people, but then I'm still getting paid, or they cover my flight, for example, and then it's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, we pay for all our own flights and hotels and stuff, but we're pretty heavily supported by the store. It's like GN Store, Patreon, so we just run normal ads, just like we do for every other video. And part of that is because now, this year specifically, and our viewers might find this interesting, but this year specifically, I kind of had a change of patience, I guess, with the manufacturers at the show, where I'm always at a show, I'm a little less strict for product coverage than when it's in the lab, because we can't test it at the show. Correct. So it's hard to be really brutal on it. But this year, like at MSI's suite and just now at InWinds, I decided, you know what, when I see stuff that I know is going to be bad, I'm just going to treat it like a review. And it's a little difficult because you have people standing there from the company watching, but I haven't yet had anyone interrupt me.
That's a good sign.
And if they do, that'll be a really good video.
So nobody kicked you out from the booth yet?
Not yet.
Yeah,
but you know, we were talking about this earlier. You start wondering, does that threaten your ability to come back next year? Most of the booths are open, so they can't really stop you. The ones that aren't open, I have a feeling there's enough space between now and the next show that they'll forget, because as you know, everybody's got a really short memory with products, right? You did the X299 disaster, right? And we'll do videos kind of on the negative side too, but as soon as you release something else that's positive, or if you do positive, you release something else that's negative, they forget the last one.
The funny part is also, if you only deliver positive content, then they don't treat you so well. It's like, they're like, oh yeah, he's going to deliver positive content anyway, so we don't really care. But once you're on their like list of people who are
scary,
it's like, oh my god, he's back.
Yeah.
Then it's getting really interesting, because they try to deliver everything to you.
Yeah, so you get all the PMs and engineers and everything, right?
Yeah, so it kind of also turns you into a very good position. So.
Yeah, I think having an actual critical eye for stuff at these shows it's better for content, better for viewers. It's more genuine. It's less like regurgitating what someone's telling you off camera or something, and then you do get access to engineers, PMs, if they're here.
That's correct.
So yeah, that's really beneficial. Overall, I'd say the shows are worth doing for sure. Like I said, you can have kind of separate conversations, like the one we did with AMD, and they allowed us to publish a statement from them on the GPU drivers. It feels like you can provide feedback on products, but I don't think it actually does anything.
That's correct. That's correct.
So that's a problem. But yeah, are you coming back to CES 2021?
I'm not sure, to be honest. But I'm the only German media, like from the very core hardware center.
Do you do your videos in German here, or both?
Yeah, both. Same again. So it's a lot of work as well.
A lot of work.
We cannot cover as much because, for example, we go to Gigabyte and we shoot one in English, one in German. We have to cut both at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more effort.
Yeah.
So we cannot cover as much as we would like to cover, just from the content side. So we can do maximum 2 booths per day, because the rest of the time we're cutting 4 videos per day to people, and that's just the maximum we can do. I'm not sure if we're coming back. I love.
If there are no other German YouTubers, it might be worth it.
It's worth it. I mean, all the vendors would invite you. They they would pay for everything. It's not a cost thing, but from a personal side of view, it also kind of feels like I'm wasting my time. And I have better things to do than being 1 week at Vegas, which is such a...
It's not a great place. We had a commenter who asked this week on one of our videos, a commenter asked us, why do all the videos at CES look like they were shot in a dark Motel 6? Can't you guys find somewhere better to shoot? I replied to the commenter and just said, have you seen Vegas? It all looks like that.
That's true. And I also gave all the vendors, every single year, I'm giving them feedback. Just invest $200 and buy a goddamn softbox.
Yeah.
Just make natural light, like from one source, and then you're in there and you have like this very warm light from the top, and then it's sunlight from the side.
Some of them started doing that finally.
Oh, really?
Intel listened. They bought some lights on our recommendation, actually, but not too many others have. I think it was mostly Intel and one of the case manufacturers. But
one last question I wanted to ask you is, what is your current view on X570 when it comes to pricing? Because I really get the impression that that's something people don't want to hear, obviously, but because it's AMD, and if you say something critical, then they're going to kill you. But
I keep thinking that, but I've been surprised lately. I think AMD has acquired enough presence and respect that it seems like now the super rabid AMD fans are maybe a little less rabid.
Yeah, because I really get the impression that X570 is what Z270 or Z370 was before, because you could see that Intel kept increasing the prices of the main board for no reason.
Right.
And X570 is so expensive. And I don't get how they get away with it so well, and nobody is really hating on it. Because
I think part of a challenge from the media standpoint is Buildzoid would be good at this, you would probably be good at this, but criticizing price on X570 becomes difficult if you don't understand all the engineering in the board, because if they tell me it's a lot more expensive to route PCIe for Gen 4, there's not a whole lot I can do to validate that, like in the middle of a trade show.
That's correct. That's correct.
But I'd have to ask an engineer who works there in private and hope that they answer me.
Yeah, but in general, you can see that X570 is so much more expensive.
I think,
and that's because AMD is so successful. Which, I mean, I have a lot of respect for what they're doing. It's amazing. The products are really, really good.
I think they're trying to reposition in the way that Intel is positioned, or has tried to position itself. I think they're trying to establish some higher end boards like Godlike and Extreme, so that they can get the perceived value of the product to be higher. Yeah. Because a more expensive product, people think it's better. So I think there's some of that in there.
That's true. That makes sense.
But ultimately, if you don't need PCIe Gen 4, don't buy X570. Get X470 or B450.
Sums it up very well.
Yeah. So I guess there's our honest thoughts on how the trade show works in general. Not just products, but how it works. So if you're curious about behind the scenes, there you go. Otherwise, I did a video on Roman's channel, and we did a question battle between each other. So I brought some questions for him about his channel and channel history. He brought some for me, and then we committed to giving money to the chosen charity for each person based on who answered the question correctly. And we didn't tally it up, so
we stopped counting.
We stopped counting, so you'll have to go watch this video for that. But
I have the feeling that you won.
I don't know. Well, really, ultimately, Wishwagon and Cat Angels won. That's true. Which is great. That's true. Go check that one out on Der8auer. We'll link him below in the description. And Roman, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Have fun.
We'll see you all next time.